Welcome to the Women on Fire podcast. We're on a mission to help you have your best menopause and rest of your life. I'm your host, Jenna Moore. I'm an integrative health menopause coach, and I've studied nutritional awareness, women's hormones through a functional medicine lens, and explored various modalities, including breathwork, mindset, and positive psychology. Join me and my guests as we discuss how to navigate the natural life transition of menopause and growing older, from waistlines, waning libidos, and what to wear now we're over 40. We discuss it all. Women on Fire is sponsored by MenoMe, a New Zealand-based company by women for women. MenoMe specializes in evidence-based, all-natural supplements to support you through every stage of menopause. Today, I want to cover postmenopause for you, or in fact, how will postmenopause change your life? And that's actually a very good question because it will. So, first things first, let's define postmenopause. Okay, so I'll just read some notes I've written on that for you. Postmenopause is the term for the time in our lives that follows perimenopause and menopause. Our estradiol levels fall and our reproductive systems shut up shop as we move into mature womanhood, or Ayurveda would say, why we become the wise woman, which I love. Don't you love that? I'll link to the perimenopause and menopause episodes in the show notes for you, so you've got every stage covered. But in a nutshell, postmenopause is a time when your periods are finito, kaput. They've reached the grand finale, not temporarily as they can during pregnancy, but for the rest of your life. And with the average age of moving into this life stage being 51 or 52, and we have an average age expectation of about 83, I think it is now, depending where you are, we will actually spend a third of our lives in postmenopause. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? It's a time when we become more vulnerable to certain heart, brain, breast, and bone diseases, postmenopauses. And one reason for this is that while we still have estrogen in our bodies, is a weaker form known as estrone. Whereas while we were in our reproductive years, we had a very protective and stronger form of estrogen called estradiol, and that's what decreases. That's the nature of that is of menopause, is the reduction of estradiol, and that estradiol is protective for a lot of our organs. It's also our juice, but because of that, there are three really big health conditions to become concerned about, and those are osteoporosis, which is a lessening of bone density and a weakening in the strength of our bones. So it's a really good idea to go to your doctor and ask them to refer you for a DEXA scan, which measures bone density. Another condition that can be a concern for women in midlife is heart disease. In fact, the New Zealand Heart Foundation says that 60 women die from heart disease every week. In Australia, the statistic is 22 per day, which is 3 times the rate of breast cancer. So it's a big deal. The most common factors are high cholesterol, which actually does increase naturally during menopause anyway, being overweight and not exercising or moving your body enough. So again, ask your doctor to check your cholesterol and your blood pressure to see how you're going there. And number 3 is Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Gwingana Lifestyle Retreat, which is in Queensland's hinterland, has a favourite female doctor who's amazing. Her name is Dr. Karen Coates, if you've ever had the privilege of listening to her speak. And when I was there a few years ago, she spoke about how dementia had overtaken heart disease as the number one killer of women. So dementia and Alzheimer's is a very big deal for us. And I know that sometimes brain fog or forgetfulness, which can be some of the signs and symptoms of menopause or perimenopause, can make you nervous that you're developing this. But the good news there is most of the time that kind of thinking is unfounded, but it is certainly something to be aware of. Dr. Lisa Mosconi does some wonderful work around this and research around this, and she's just got a new book out too. So I will definitely put um, those links in the show notes for you. I would love to have her on as a guest, but she's a big star, so I'm not sure how I will go, but I will try. Estradiol is also a key lubricant, so you may notice that you have drier lips or more stiffer joints or a drier vagina. Its reduction can also affect our thyroid, our digestion, our insulin, our cortisol, and our weight. So I'm very sorry about this. It all sounds like very dire, but there's some good news here. Loads and loads of women report feeling happier once they enter postmenopause. So isn't that a great thing? Most of the hormonal chaos and signs and symptoms of perimenopause tend to reduce at this time or at least go away. Fortunately for a few women, some of them, like hot flushes, can go on for years, but that doesn't happen to many of us. And certainly the things like anxiety, headaches, perimenopausal depression, etc., they can all reduce at this time. So that's something to look forward to. If your energy's been depleted during the transition, you may find that comes back as well. And the other good news is that many women report saying that they feel more of a sense of freedom and more of a sense of confidence, because confidence is something that can get a bit rocky during this time. Post-menopause is actually the perfect time to check in for a health warrant of fitness and to really ramp up your well-being practices. You've often got more time on your hands. If you're lucky, you might have more disposable funds, and it creates just that ideal opportunity to do some self-focus. While some things are out of our control, it's a great time to take ownership of your life. So, a few tips I can share with you are eating plenty of lean protein, because a lot of women don't eat enough, and that's just about a fist size rather than going into weight. A fist size with every time you eat, and pair them with whole grains and good fats and lots of green leafy vegetables. Phytoestrogens are wonderful for women in midlife. They're like nature's estrogen, and they can help support our bodies. Plant-based diets are particularly rich in them, and research has actually shown that phytoestrogens may help with bone loss as well, so that's a biggie for us. Now, we do have a free list that I'm going to share with you in the show notes, but just a few: broccoli, beans, peas, carrots, apples, pomegranates, spinach, flax seeds, sesame seeds, oats, lentils, soybeans, tofu, and tempeh, sorry. So they're all wonderful, and like eat the rainbow, and look, try and get 30 different types of vegetables and fruit in your week. That's a wonderful thing. Another tip, and I feel like a broken record, but our body really cannot process refined um, sugars and processed foods very well anymore. So that's a really good thing to avoid. Know that vitamin D and its best buddy K2, vitamin D3, let me be specific, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 can be very, very, very supportive of your bone density as well. And reduce stress as much as possible because we can't cope with it as we once did. Our sponsor MenoMe includes vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 in their Perky Post product, which is specifically formulated to support women in postmenopause. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a quick overview and that's been helpful for you. As I say, I will link into how will I know if I'm in perimenopause and what is menopause in the show notes, so you've got everything covered off there. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Women on Fire. If you like what we share, please subscribe and give us a rating and or a review. In addition, visit our sponsor's YouTube channel at MenoMe 100, where you can subscribe and watch all of the interviews. That's the best way to support this podcast so we can continue to bring it to you. Thank you for your interest in midlife, menopause, and Women on Fire.